anyway, these days it's played at a faster tempo, so we'll start learning it on the fiddle here a little bit faster, but something like this. The first bit goes. Let's try that much. And we do it again. And then let's do that one more time and then we'll go on. Now let's go to that, then we'll go to there again. Let's just do the little bit that goes up to that C. So let's see, let's try it going from the beginning. Good, we're about halfway through this part. A couple more times on this, up to this point. Okay. Here we go again. One more time, here we go. Going on from there, it goes So it goes, I'll do the bar 2x3/4. Let's do it. Let's see if we can get all the way up there. We'll do it enough times so you'll be able to catch it. Up to there again. Here we go again. Here we go again. We'll do it three more times. One more. I'm just going to play the end part here. After I hit this, it goes. Okay, let's play the whole part a few times. Starting to make sense? It's a funny thing. After a while, I mean, it's got, to me, it just sounds like a bunch of notes and then a bunch of notes. And all of a sudden you start hearing, there are just certain notes that are the juicy notes, that C natural. When you get there, it's pretty exciting. And then, it changes up. It's a funny thing. When I listen to this, there's certain notes after a while I think of them as being very emotional. It's just it's a simple little tune, but I'll try to say what I mean. The pattern's hypnotic in a certain way. The way it repeats and then just subtly changes. So, same. Then here's different. Same. And here we go. Big emotional note. The held note, also emotional. That's a good one. So if you look, those long notes have just they start, it starts up with the C, goes down to the G, then down to the E, and then all the way down to the D. So it's got its own little kind of pattern in there that that after a while I think it's pretty hypnotic and in a good way. So let's just play this first part a little bit more, okay? Here we go. And unless anybody has any questions right now. Okay, we'll just do it some more then if you don't. God, I love the sound. Debbie, I love the look of that thing. It's just so entrancing. At some point, when we stop, get this tune, just play us a few notes on it because we got to hear it, okay?
We did have one question. What is the name of the tune again?
It is called Aires de Pontevedra.
Thank you.
It's like airs, from Pontevedra, which is a town on the coast, the southern west coast of Galicia. Beautiful town. The famous bagpipers come from there. It's it was one of the places where the bagpiping tradition really survived. And there were some of the blind street fiddlers that would come through that part of the world as well as all of Galicia. So here we go. Hi, Robin. And a couple things about this. there's very, hi Brian, there are very little, what we think of as ornaments in this kind of a tune. There's a lot of room in this for expressing emotion, though, both with the use of slurs, slides, and as you can hear, it's sort of set up for single note bowing. But you get emotion by just adding two notes on one bow. So. You can hear that pulsing that you get from that. And I think that's pretty much up to you to where you want to do it. But I find it really satisfying. Often I'll slide into those quarter notes, you know. Like that. Stuff like that. Does that make sense? It's to fool around with, but that's where the juice of the tune comes, and you can kind of get that if you listen to recordings. I think on that on my playlist, my YouTube playlist, I think there's a couple of recordings of this. But you know, on a bagpipe, you don't have a lot of ability to change the volume. You can't, like on a fiddle. It's, you know, you got a lot of ability to bring the volume up and down, which makes it a lot of fun to play these tunes on the fiddle. And but the pipes have different ways of ornamenting it like that. They can hold a note. They can use a little vibrato and stuff like that. Anyway, let's play the first part a couple more times, and then move on to the second part. Yeah.
Can you tip your screen a little bit so we can see your left hand better?
We'll try. I don't think
It's cut off on the bottom.
Okay. I think it's. Let's see. How's that?
That's much better. Thank you.
All right. Make it so I don't hit my microphone. So let's play it a couple more times. Here's how the second part starts. It's let's get that again. Just one more time. Again, start from the A note. It goes up. And again, that repeats that. We'll do it twice. And then the end. So let's just loop that B part. It's much shorter and I think much easier. Is that coming okay? Okie dokie. Well, let's try the whole thing. Here we go. How's that feel? This is so much. I don't know. I love this tune. It's so satisfying to play it, and I'm glad you're all learning it. Cool. Did the music ever show up in the bio so that you could download the PDFs? It did? Good. Okay, great. Good. There's way more tunes than we'll ever get through, but they're all good, and I think they're all pretty accessible. So,
is that about the speed, or should we be playing it? Should it be played faster, or
both?
both?
Well, so the truth is, that's a perfectly good speed to play and play with people. It's because it's got, it's on those lifts, da-dum, da-dum, da-da, and that's more the speed it would have been played if you were wandering around in a village trying to wake everybody up for the party. It'd be da-da-da-da-da-da. These days, I much more often heard it play a little bit faster with sort of like this. Anyway, you get the idea. It's not inaccessible, and it's not really hard. I was thinking about it, but you get it, so your fingers do it, and it's very amenable to little improvisations. You heard one creep in there. It's funny when I talk to there's sort of three different groups of fiddlers in Galicia. There were the old timers, the blind street fiddlers, and they had their very distinct style. Each one distinct from the other too, but very very little. There were a lot of ornamentation, but more in the kind I was doing at first with slides and a lot of little trills. They do interestingly. They would do these trills that were like. It's almost like a Balkan trill, with the finger right next to the note. Like that. Then you've got a lot of younger players, and by younger I mean my age, who started playing in the 70s and 80s, and they almost all of them were influenced by playing Irish music, which got very popular. It was like when the Irish music became a money cow. It got started, all that kind of thing. So a lot of the different countries you'll find traditional players from all around Europe who started playing Irish music. So then you get, with Irish turns and Irish ornamentation. Even the pipers would start to learn some Irish things that crept into it. Anyway, and then you got classical players who have discovered their own music, and they have a whole other way of ornamenting it. But it's sort of it's closer to that. And then you got there's some younger players who really do study Begonia Riobo is a wonderful player to listen to. She really studies the old guys. And so does Alfonso Franco, and their styles are just gorgeous because they had the benefit of sort of learning the old style and classical music at the same time, sort of the way a lot of younger Irish players are doing, the ones who really want to learn a particular style. And they, especially I've heard Begonia, I think she does some lessons online, or there's some good videos of her playing like certain of the old street fiddlers. Anyway. Let's start another tune here. I was hoping we'd get 7 a day, but I think 2 is the limit. Let's try another one that's a semi-hard one. Tomorrow maybe we can do some slower tunes like a mazurka maybe and a passa corredores. But I was hoping to do another tune from Florencio, Osego dos Vilares. There is a recording, by the way, that has that title, Florencio Osego dos Vilares, which means, Osego means the blind, it's assumed as fiddle player, from the town of Dos Vilares. The town is Dos Vilares. And it's by Pancho Alvarez. I don't know if any of you heard of, whose name just went out of my, Carlos Nunez, one of the most famous pipers, plays all around the world. Well, Pancho Alvarez is his longtime music arranger and main accompanist, and is a fantastic player, soulful, has 3 or 4 records of his own, and each one is wonderful. And this one is his homage to Florencio, the blind fiddler from Dos Vilares. And the arrangements are stunning. And this tune I want to play, Muñeira de Fonsagrada, is one of his tunes. And he does a wonderful job with it on that album. So it starts like this. It's a muñeira, which is our equivalent of a jig. It's 6/8. Let's try that. So it's 6/8, and so some of the timing is really cool in here when they have a. So let's try it again. I think this will make sense. I'll just play this whole first part because I think it's pretty accessible. So sorry. Should we do a couple more times, or you got it? Okay? I'm going to go, I'll play that again, and then we'll go on to the second part. Let's just try that again. So. play the A part and the B part together. B part. Cool. Isn't that fun? Okay, let's play the A part and the B part again, and then I'll go on and see where we'll break up the third part. Here we go. So let's try that again. So. It's funny, that's a little finger twister, but after a moment it becomes easy. So I'm going to play this whole part so you get to hear it. The turnaround goes like this. So you've got this little lead in that's coming up everywhere. Sorry. Then the end just goes. So let's try that. We'll do that third part twice, and then go back into the beginning. Here we go. Isn't that a fun one?
Yeah, we have some questions bubbling up in the chat. I'm thinking,
Okay.
I'm starting to feel that, like you were saying, that good hypnosis of this tune.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, how do you suggest best learning this style? Is it breaking it apart 4 notes at a time? Is it just jumping in and immersing yourself in the culture? Like, how did you get started?
Oh, well, the way I got started was like anything that in my musical life, an astonishing bunch of coincidences that repeated over and over again until I had Galicia and Galician music and Galician piping on my radar. And so I just started listening to a lot of stuff. I think it's like any folk music. You have to listen to a lot of it and you absorb it a certain amount. I mean, you can learn it bit by bit, but just listening, it starts to make sense in a way. So, I first learned it on, I played fiddle from the beginning because I got entranced about the same time that I fell in love with the bagpipe. I got a bagpipe and I played a lot of gaita. But about the same time I started listening to these street musicians, the recordings of Florencio and then a few others. There's Florencio, by the way, on that YouTube playlist. You can find him and listen to him play. And that stuff, if you listen, you don't have to listen that much, but enough, it seeps into your bones. It just gets in there and it starts to make sense. If you think about it, it doesn't, but if you play it, it does. If that makes any sense to you.
Or doing rather than telling, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it helps for some people to explain certain things. But it's interesting, in the main cultures that I've been part of just in my life exploring, I've fallen in love with a dozen, but I've spent more time in Ireland and in Quebec and in this American South and in Irish music. And, you'd have great teachers, great players, and they'd explain to you how to do something. And then you'd go meet another great player and they'd explain how you do that thing. And it was totally different. And so you'd have to basically realize that there is some interplay between who you are and who you are as a player and what the tradition wants of you. And I think it really does help if you find a mentor and just learn that style. That's good. But even the people who do that, I think eventually they will play their version of that style.
Thank you.
All righty, I guess we're close. Hey, Debbie, how about just playing us a couple of notes there?
Okay.
It'll echo, but we'll still hear it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Move over, you can see the fiddle better. It's got the regular stuff plus the C at the bottom.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Chocolate.
I have a 5-string fiddle, but my C does not sound like that C.
Yeah, it's great. You can feel it all the way to your toes.
Let's love it. I love it. I love it.
And it's fun because I used to be, when I would get gigs and drive to Omaha, and I have to really specify, is this a violin gig or a viola gig? Because it was too much stress. So
that's great. That's perfect.
Don't tell me, just put a clef in front of me and leave me alone.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. Anybody else got any questions?
I have one question.
Yeah.
I listened to the first, actually, I think it was the blind playlist, the list.
Yep.
And the first one, it just really struck me. What it says, the title was Pancho Alvarez Muñeras de Florencio al Vivo de Casa de Todos. But the first tune was absolutely beautiful, and I've been playing fiddle for like over 50 years, but I just started playing a concertina, and they're playing a concertina. Now, are they people from there who are playing this?
Pancho Alvarez is the guy I was telling you about, who's the music director for Carlos Nunez, the one of the most famous pipers in the world, who's really a concertizer around the world. And all of his records are really good to listen to because he knows the tradition cold. He really knows it, but he takes it and arranged it like that. For instance, in that album, he takes the music of Florencio, which was solo music. That was the whole point. He would play. It's good to listen to Florencio and then listen to Pancho play versions of the tunes, because you see how both faithful he is and how he plays it in a way that is accessible to modern folk listener ears. And he arranges it for cool instruments like flutes and concertinas. He plays all those things too, but I don't know if on the album, I think he has other guys playing it.
It almost sounded to me like the style of the concertina was imitating the bagpipes, which makes sense.
It can do, yeah, because it's got that.
And it was beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, and those records. That record is it really.
Are those records available in the U.S.?
Yes. Just do searches for Pancho Alvarez, and you can find all of his stuff.
Okay.
I forget where I got it, but it's all totally downloadable and accessible.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, Pancho Alvarez. Any other questions? Well, it's great to see everybody, the ones I can see. All right. Well, tomorrow I think we'll try a couple other different rhythms, like we'll try a mazurka, the Mazurka de Areiras, Areiras, and that I think I have a Pasacorredores, which is a marching tune on there, and that's a fun one too. And those are very accessible, and they're just fun to play. If we have time, we'll do a rumba too, but we'll see. Anyway, thanks all for coming. It's great to see your faces.
Thanks so much, Kevin.
Pleasure, pleasure, pleasure.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks
Pleasure.
so much.